All right, hey group. So I decided that I wanted to do this on my page earlier, but I'm just gonna do it in the group instead, because there's a lot of you here that are probably just hanging out in this group right now. And so, what I want to go with is I want to talk about the 5 takeaways from the May 2016 jobs report. That happens the first Friday of every single month, and I pay attention to it primarily because I'm interested in work, and number two, I'm interested in the welfare of this group because I know a lot of you are looking for work right now. And so this latest jobs report is important for everyone involved because it always talks about the health of our economy. So the first takeaway from this jobs report is that we had 38,000 jobs added in the month of May. It's actually not a very, very high amount. And by the way, for those of you who are joining live, you can feel free to add comments in the section below or questions, and tell me what you think about the jobs report. You can go to Google and look up the Bureau of Labor Statistics for the month of May, and it'll tell you everything that you need to know. So yeah, the first takeaway again is that 38,000 jobs were added in the month of May, and the rate dropped to about 4.7%, which is actually the lowest rate since December of 2007, which, if you have your history correct, about 9 years ago, that's when the recession actually began here in the United States. And so 38,000 jobs added in the month of May, it's actually pretty low because March recently had its rate revised from 208,000 to 186,000, and April from 160 to 123,000. So you're seeing nearly a 100,000 job added per month drop. And so this is expected, right? We're in this area of the economy where I would say the election is coming up soon, and companies probably don't want to really hire or think about hiring until after they see the new president come in. And yeah, thanks Russ for sharing that. And I think the other thing is that you have a lot of the stuff that happens around 8 to 10 years into every economic cycle. That's number two, where every 8 to 10 years you've seen the economy kind of do some crazy things. So back in 2008. Back in 2001 when you had the dot-com bust, and then back in 1992 when you were going into President Bill Clinton's first year and President George Herbert Walker Bush's last year, where you had some of the crazy stuff happening from there too. And so I think the third point for 1C for this takeaway from the jobs report is that, we've been hearing a lot about how Fed Chairwoman Janet Yellen wants to raise interest rates. And I think that's going to stop that from happening for this month because you're going to have, it's probably discouraged companies from hiring, and you're seeing the economic impact of that. And so you're probably going to see that tabled until the next quarter, probably September. And as you get closer to the election, it's going to signal a lot of instability. And so we'll see what happens there. So that's the first point. 38,000 jobs added in the month of May, 4.7% jobs rate. Pretty decent, but as far as job rate is concerned, but disappointing as far as overall jobs added. So the second thing that you can take away from this jobs report from the link that Russ has shared is that the participation rate of our workforce has dropped to 62.6%, which means that somewhere around here there are 37.4 of this country, nearly 2/5, that are currently not working. And people, that's 37.4% of people who have decided that they want to just give up on their job hunt. And this is pretty alarming, at least in my mind, because that's a lot of productivity that's kind of just sitting on the sidelines and not doing anything. And I'd like to see what the next president, since Obama is leaving office pretty soon, to see what they can do to put more people into work. And here in LA, in Los Angeles County, here in California, we've had recent news where we're going to add another 200,000 jobs over the next couple of years, but there are a lot of low-paying jobs, and we need to find ways to do that as well. And so, whether you're for Bernie Sanders, Hillary Clinton, or Donald Trump, I think getting the participation rate up and having more people in the workforce and thereby having more people making money is an important thing that people need to need to have. And so, by the way, also for those of you who have just joined, feel free to add comments or your thoughts below on the jobs report. I'm sharing it here because I think it's important that people have a good understanding of how the economy is kind of going right now. I pay attention to it as much as I can because I know how volatile things are. We're just going through the top 5 takeaways. So the third takeaway that we have from this May jobs report is that part-time work is also going way, way up. And so according to the report, we had 468,000 new entrants into part-time work. That makes it now 6.4 million. As of the last recession in 2007, we had 4.2 million people working part-time. And this is alarming too, just as with the participation rate, because that means there's a lot of creative destruction going on, and that's understandable. That's part of every economy, right? Back when the computer was invented in the early 1980s, late 1970s, you had people who had this fear that typists would be destroyed because of the computer, but it only created more people to work in things like multimedia and programming and software development and hardware management and things like that. In this situation, maybe not as much because we're reaching this point where you have a lot of technology like cloud and automation and machine learning that's coming in, and that's actually reducing the amount of people that need to really work. We're heading to this point where maybe a couple of generations from now, you're going to have people who don't work at all, and you're going to require basic minimum income because this is just where our world is heading, where our technology will benefit. So that's point number 3, is the part-time job rate increasing to 468,000 to 6.4 million. The fourth point that I want to cover is the key industry winners and losers over the last month. And so this might be interesting for a lot of you here who work in various industries. And so we'll start with the losers first. And so according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, manufacturing dropped 10,000 jobs last month, and mining dropped another 10,000 jobs as well, with over 207,000 job losses overall since September of 2014. And this is a result of things like lower gas prices, offshoring, continued offshoring, and so these industries are going to continue losing overall. In areas that gained, healthcare saw 46,000 jobs. And so this is in the area of people working in hospitals, this is the area of people working in ambulatory, and this is an area that's expected to gain anyway because you have about, I think, 10,000 baby boomers turning 65 every day, hitting retirement age. And a lot of baby boomers like to think about how, they lived their lives back when they were youthful, and they're going to continue doing that lifestyle. And so healthcare is going to continue growing. And so if you're someone in this group who's a nurse or somebody who wants to work in a hospital or work in health, either with a undergraduate, master's, or even a doctoral degree, the economy is going to be good for you. And so we encourage you to continue looking for work there. I would say that, and Lauren, I just saw your comment, the other aspect is professional services, right? So this is actually a professional services group. From our analytics that we run here, we have a lot of technology and marketing folks, and these are folks who do everything from social media to digital marketing to programmers to people who are working in professional services, admin assistants, people like that. And so that area added about 10,000 jobs last month, and 26,000 of those jobs, so we've had a little bit of a job loss, were in the technical professional realm. So for those of you, I know 9 minutes in, who've watched into the year, the news is good. You're seeing increases in jobs in that area. Jobs keep coming in. If you have that professional degree, if you have those technical capabilities, then you are going to be on the good end here. And so that means that we have reason to feel good about where we're sitting when it comes to the job market, and that professional services will continue to probably grow here. I feel like, looking at my company, I work at a technology consulting firm. We do $1 million deals, and there are still millions of dollars coming in through the pipeline on a monthly basis. And for the developers in this group who are looking to find work, I mean, your job prospects are still very good. For the professional services and admin assistants, I mean, you continue to see posts from Robert Half and also Slingshot Connections that offer you positions in administrative assistance and places like that. And so, especially in the Bay Area where the economy is kind of an anomaly, I would say that the continued technical and professional growth is something that's going to continue going up. Same with healthcare. And I would say that when you have the emergence of healthcare and technology and professional services, then you have that really sweet spot. And so that's point number 4 for key industry winners and losers. I'm just going to go into the comments really quickly. Thank you, Nikhil, for the kind comments there. And Lauren says, I'm honestly pretty excited about the technological advances changing the job industry. There would be more an adjustment period, but my hope is that jobs will require a very human element would finally be valued in our society, such as artists, teachers, caregivers, etc. Perhaps then they will be paid the wages that they deserve. And I agree with that. I think there's always a need for the technology aspect. I think there's you have technologies, being in the Bay Area, right? You have Khan Academy, Coursera, Udemy's in San Francisco, and Samuel Hong posts regularly in this group for jobs that are available at that company, and I think there's a lot of complementary innovation that's going on in that area. I know we also have a lot of nonprofits that come into this group and share their opportunities too. And so, those are in the professional services realm. I don't think the Bureau of Labor Statistics releases numbers that are specific to teaching or artist type jobs. They break it down by non-farm and farm payroll, and so that's an area of interest for a lot of different people. And so, yeah. So that's point number 4, is just the evolution of the economy. Adidia, this is actually going to be recorded in this group. It's currently live, and after it being live, it'll go elsewhere. So it'll be good. So yeah, that's number 4. And so far we've gone through 4 points of the top 5 takeaways from the May jobs report. The number 5 point that I think I want to address here is average hourly earnings, right? So I know in the Bay Area, hourly earnings is a huge topic because you have people living literally in closets and in trucks and Google parking lots and things like that. And wages are always a contested topic. You hear about Donald Trump talking about how wages are too high, and you have the fight for 15. And for the most part, we don't really have that here. Most of our jobs here are above $15 an hour. I feel like the lowest paying jobs I see are between $16 to about $20 an hour, and those for your entry-level administrative assistant gigs. And so I would say that as far as wages are concerned, that's not so much an issue. But as we all know, the higher wages we have, the more that people have to spend on what's out there. And so, we are, as you recall from your economics courses, our gross domestic product is driven by consumer spending. Should it be driven by consumer spending? That's something that I don't know if I agree with, because I myself am a high saver, but that's economic preference due to graduating during the recession. As far as just wages in general, I mean, I think that's something that will eventually change, and so we'll see where that goes forward. But the 5th point is that hourly earnings on average have risen by about 2.5% in 2016 so far. And so for those of you who have gotten raises for your new jobs from your previous job, or are looking to get a raise, if you want that 10 to 15%, you should absolutely do it. I absolutely encourage you to do it. I think you should get the most money that you can for the value that you're worth. But as a whole, right, wages have only risen 2.5%. And that's across all industries. I would presume that in the professional sector that this number is a whole lot different, and that the number is likely higher, because you get about 15 to 20%, for every single job that you go to. So So that's something too, because that comes back to our GDP discussion that we just had. So 5 takeaways from the May jobs report. Number 1, we added 38,000 jobs last month, and that dropped the unemployment rate to 4.7%. March and April both saw lower revisions by about 22,000 and 27,000 for both March and April. And I should also mention that part of this 38,000 jobs added was due to the fact that Verizon's been on strike for the past 6 weeks, and so the number probably should be closer to about 73,000, but 38,000 is what the number is due to the fact that you had Verizon on strike there too. And so, number 2, labor participation rate, 62.6%. Nearly 2/5 of the country who wants to work is not working, and that's a pretty alarming number. Number 3, the part-time job rate increased by 468,000 to 6.4 million, which is 2 million higher than before the recession. Key industry winners and losers: healthcare, plus 46,000, professional services, plus 10,000, with 26,000 in technical and professional. Manufacturing lost 10,000 jobs. Mining lost another 10,000 jobs, with 207,000 jobs lost overall since September of 2014. And average hourly earnings rose by 2.5%. So if you want, I guess, the general Albert's list takeaway that from this jobs report, I think we're definitely heading into a period of slowdown. You're seeing a lot less jobs being reported, and number 1, that's due to the presidential election. And I think number 2, that's due to the fact that we've kind of hit full steam here, and this is kind of expected. And now we're heading into the summer months, right? Which means that there's going to be a lot more temporary jobs for summer camps, and there's going to be a lot less people looking because they go on vacation, or they just kind of hide away for a while until the September hiring season. And so, should you be worried? Yes, to some effect, because we're in a presidential season, and who the heck knows what'll happen. But also no, because professional services, which is the backbone of this group, is continuing to grow at a pace secondary to healthcare, and we have both of those industries in this group here. And so, continue to send out your resume, continue to attend networking events. If you're in the San Francisco Bay Area, I encourage you to get out and network, right? The Art of Active Networking is next week on Monday in San Francisco, Tuesday in LA, Wednesday in Orange County here where I live. And we're consistently seeing more and more events coming out, and really in general. I know that compared to the Bay Area, LA is a little bit more sparse when it comes to professional networking events, but they're there. And so we have to make the effort to go out and get to know people, because just a little bit of philosophy here. It's not who you know, and it's not what you know, it's who knows you. And the more people know you, the better it is for everyone else. And so, yeah, that's those are kind of my takeaways from the May jobs report. Still a little bit lackluster, but overall good for this specific community. I couldn't say the same thing if we were a manufacturing or a mining community, so that would be a whole lot different. So, yeah, if you guys have any thoughts, put them in the comments below, and let us know what you're thinking, because I always want to know what we can do to help you guys provide better opportunities here, and also to make your job search a little bit easier. So, yeah, it's 9:30 now in the morning here on a Friday, so we've got a couple more hours here until the weekend, and it's been a short week. And so let's go have some fun, and let's go live our professional lives. Or if you have an interview today, go knock it out of the park. And I'll see you back here in the walls, or on Monday when we do our Motivation Monday. So have a good weekend, everyone, and I'll talk to you guys all really soon.